Good morning, everybody, and welcome once again to Empowering Morning Conversations. So we are on session number 540. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's take our journey forward. And as I say this to you, I'm very happy and delighted to see that so many of us have been on this journey together for such a long time, right? And since we are all, let's say, seasoned people in this particular conversation, it's easy to take it to the next level. And slowly, as you can see, over the last week or so, we are taking it to the next level. So maybe some of you are struggling with the conversation, some of you are getting it. If somebody wants to make it simpler, you let me know. Okay, simpler means mundane. That's why I'm not making it simpler. I think we need to look at more and more things and dive deep into the default mode and how the default mode limits us and makes us stay where we are, even though we say that we want something different. You know, we say and we actually believe that we want something different, and we say that we want to create our life. But actually, what we are doing most of the time is to make sure that life remains the same. We want to make sure that I remain the same. So the question for us this morning is that why is it that if you want to remain the same, and if you want your life to remain the same, and why are we not celebrating it? And why are we going on then desiring for different things? Have you thought about that? So which part of you wants to remain the way you already are and let your life remain the way it is? And which part of you is restless and wants, and desires something else? There is a part of you which wants everything to remain the same. It defines you, it limits you, it wants you to be safe. That's one part of you. And there is another part of you, maybe the real you, who wants to explore, who wants to create. So what is happening in our life seems to be that the part of us which limits us, it is dominating us. So which part is that, do you think? And what is our word? What is the statement we make about that part? The part of you which limits you, wants you to stay the same, even though you say that you're desiring something else. What is that part of you? Yes, Reddy Garu, go ahead.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
My comfort zone always limits me.
Yeah. And what do we call it here in the EMC? We have a name for it, no?
Survival mode.
Default mode.
Mode.
So where did this default mode get created? See, when you came into this world and you had the connection with your infinite self, and you were playing, and there was limitless child over there, and somewhere along the way, the default mode was inculcated or indoctrinated. So we became something which we are not. So I wanted to reflect on that. Who have you become? Where are you getting your formulas from? Where are your fixed beliefs coming from? So either we can choose to be the way we are, we can choose the life that we have, or we can choose the life that we desire. But we are not doing that. We are doing neither of them. Neither are we choosing to remain the life and acknowledge and appreciate what we have and what we are. Neither are we going 100% in the direction of our dreams and desires. Will that not create a dissonance in you? A misalignment in you? Dissonance causes weakness, you know that? So to break out of this vicious circle of desiring and not desiring, you think it's going to be comfortable. It may be comfortable, maybe it is not comfortable, but you have to be willing to take the jump, no, the leap of faith, as they call it. And I can say to you people that you are the ones who are willing to take that leap of faith. Otherwise, you will not be coming here every morning. So that means you are willing to get out of your default mode. You're willing to choose life. You're willing to create life. So my question to you this morning is the speed at which, or the velocity with which you are creating your life, are you satisfied with it? You can raise your hand if you are satisfied with it. The velocity at which you are creating your life, are you satisfied with it? Okay, so we got one hand raised. The rest of you are not satisfied with it. So next question. Do you want to do something about it? If you do, raise your hand or give a thumbs up or something. Okay, so out of 16 people, 15 people, only 2 people are wanting to make that change. 4 people now. Wow. The rest of you want to be neither here nor there. So then what are you coming here for every morning? For intellectual discussion. If you don't want to choose this or that, and you want to remain on the fence, you know, it's called in English sitting on the fence, not jumping this side or that side. Then why are you wasting your time? Okay, so one more has joined the club, wants to change. Then comes the next question, what do you want to do about it? So you'll say, sir, we are already doing. Okay, very good. Now you have another opportunity to do something more about it also if you want to, in a different manner. And to introduce that to you, I'm inviting our very own well-known person called Induji. I don't need to introduce her, right? I've already sent you an introduction to her. Some of you have met her. She's done sessions for us. So Induji, over to you. I want you to introduce your program to them.
Thank you, sir. Very, very good morning, and thank you once again. Thank you once again for all the support you render. And a hearty and a warm morning to all our friends here. Namaste. I hope it's been a great start with all the stirring that sir has just got us to do. And I only wish it gets better and better in every way possible for all of us. So I just
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Your voice is low. Can you raise the?
I'll do that. Yes.
Sorry.
Sure. So first of all, I'm sending out wishes to all of you. Today happens to be the day after the Navratri, the Vijaya Dashami, right? So it commemorates the victory of conquering over one's own greed, lust, anger, all of that, and how you navigate and channelize all your energies towards accomplishing goodness, right? Supreme form of self-awareness, let's say. So on that note, we'll see where we are right now, as just a self-assessment of where we are right now and where we wish to get. And then I will take my session forward from there. And thank you all for being here, and just love to have an open-minded conversation as we journey together the next few minutes. Just an introspection of where you are right now and where you want to get. So as you're doing that bit of inquiry, to all our friends who are joining us just now, a very, very happy morning once again. So I'm just about to introduce to you something Before we get into that, I want to ask you, what comes in the way between you and what you want to have in life? And if you have a pen and paper by your side, jot down. What is it that comes in the way, stands in the way between you and the life that you desire to have? We'll take a minute. Look at all areas of your life. There is something that you want to accomplish for yourself. And if something is preventing you from getting that, what is it?
My limiting beliefs, my inertia,
Okay.
my old patterns, and repeating the patterns. When I need to take action, I hesitate and fall into the old pattern, and the result is not coming up.
Okay. Thank you
I
for
have
sharing.
that realization, but I feel that I'm not able to overcome it.
Okay. We'll just look at what else we can do, right? Thank you for sharing. I think you've done this bit of introspection already, right? Because fat came all your responses. So perhaps you thought over these. Nice. Shakti, I see your hand up. Would you like to share now?
I'm not sure, ma'am, whether we can share it now or just we need to note it down in our notebook.
Okay, no, your hand raise button was up, so I was wondering if you wanted to share.
No, I thought we need to share it, so I raised my hand.
Okay.
Okay. For me, it's like my fear of failure.
Okay.
And then fear of unknown.
Okay.
And then I do have some point of view, like a scarcity point of view.
Okay.
That's the one. Yes, ma'am. That's all. Thanks.
Totally get. Now, if you resonate with some of the things that Shantiji just shared and Shakti just now shared, just use your thumbs up icon so we'll know how many of us are also dealing with these things. Right? Or if it's easier to use the chat button, I2 or something, please feel free to do that. Yeah. So I do notice a lot of hands going up. So which means fairly, most of us are in this space, right? So what comes in the way between us and what we want to get in life? Some of the things that they just listed: inertia, inaction, fear, sitting over things, and uncertainty, right? And that takes us to our next point here in the presentation. So what is this uncertainty all about? What does uncertainty mean to you? Most often fear stems from uncertainty, isn't it? I do not know what the future holds. I do not know what this person has got. Or I do not know where my career is leading. I don't know if I will withstand the test of time. I do not know if my health will cooperate. Right? So we have many of these in the background, right? And that's where the fear stems from, uncertainty. So how do we do it? Will it be better if we knew? Of course, there's no one person who has everything under control, but will it help if you knew better? If you knew your environment better? If you knew the people that you work with, you live with better? If you understood your relationships better? If you understood your own body and health better? Will it help? Will it aid in making informed choices? If you resonate with that, use the thumbs up button. Will it get a little better? Will life be better off if you knew what you're dealing with, so that you could be a little more prepared than otherwise? Right? Wonderful. So now let's take it to our next probing. If you knew better, What is it that you need to do to know better? Take your time. What is it that you need to know better? Better about yourself, better about your environment, better about the variables. Yeah. So, as you are listing what it is for you, I'm just reading out Adler's quote. He says, the person who says he knows what he thinks but cannot express it usually does not know what he thinks.
True.
Is it ringing some bells? What comes to your mind when you're reading this? I'm just reading it out another time. One of you could read it out aloud. Any of you. Yes,
The
Shiv brother,
person-
please go ahead.
The person who says he knows what he thinks but cannot express it usually does not know what he thinks.
So what does it mean to you? Would you like to share, since your microphone is already on unmute? Would you want to share?
He doesn't know about himself.
Yeah. And it comes through, isn't it?
Yeah.
When one is unclear. Thank you. Now just look at some of the scenarios that you have been in or you have found others. Even a simple question of, can you introduce yourself? Have you found people stammering, stuttering? It's not to do with speech issues, I'm saying, to do with the content. Have you come across people who find it hard to explain to people who they are? Questions like, what are your future plans? Of course, that is pretty vague, but something like a child who's just passing out of 12th and you want to know what group he's going to be taking in college or which college he wants to apply. And he says, I got this. And if you ask him to explain or her to explain, and if they're fumbling, what does it immediately convey to you? And if there's a project on hand and somebody is inviting you to share a few lines about it, there is this gap, isn't it? You think you know, and to express it clearly, there is a lag. And more so you will notice when you write it. Have you experienced that any time in life? When you need to write down a plan, write down the budget, write down a certain, even an invitation. You think you will manage, go invite someone for a casual get together. But if you were to just put down all of those details and share, a handwritten note, you know where the spot is, right? So that stems from uncertainty. And for someone who's very clear with all the parameters, with all the factors that they are dealing with, you would have found yourself in those situations also, isn't it? When you are passionate about something, when you have a pet project and you want to announce to the world about it, when you are earnestly working through something and you have made a change, you have transformed in some ways, whether it is physical transformation, whether it is some kind of a grooming, and you know what you have done, you've been there, you've done that, you're in a different zone, isn't it? To tell the world with conviction that this is what you need to do. Even if it's a recipe, if you've cooked it a dozen times, the surety with which you can explain this is what you need to add. If you've led a project before, you know what goes into the making of that project. How easy life is to explain yourself. Just have those two scenarios in your mind as we discuss further. So now this is Adler's quote. I'm just adding another bit of what came to my mind when I read this. What do you call a person who knows something, who knows how to do something, but cannot quite put it to good use? What do you call him? I've not put a label here. Therefore, I've just used the verb. The person who knows something but cannot put it to good use does not know how to succeed. Even if he succeeds by chance, by luck, to replicate it becomes a question, isn't it? Will one of you want to read it and share what's coming, opening up for you as you read this? Any of you?
The person who knows something but cannot put it to good use does not know how to succeed.
Yeah. What's opening up for you, Shiv Prasad ji, as you read it?
It's a statement, which I also believe.
Okay. Thank you. Shanti, you want to share?
Yes, ma'am.
Please go ahead.
Actually, when we think in our mind, the idea is very vague.
Yeah.
We don't know where to start from. But when we put it in the paper,
Yeah.
We have to write step by step.
Yes.
So when we write it step by step, we know what's the action to do first, and then second, and then third. That idea comes.
True.
But it sometimes for me, I don't know what I am doing. Then I started writing a thought journal. It may be around 6 months. Only after 6 months, I found out that I'm writing the same thing every day. There's no change at all. So
Okay.
the mind is not at all changing. In that case, how can I go forward?
Thank you. Actually, I can't thank you enough for bringing up all the elements what I'm about to cover. The first part of it I will immediately address. Can you hold the second part of your question after you use that part for a little while? Can you hold it for a few minutes?
Yes,
Yeah?
ma'am. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
And thank you once again, because you have beautifully navigated our topic to what follows next. So if you remember, friends, Shanti ji began by saying writing, to cross over that uncertainty, or to someone who has what needs to be done and who doesn't put it to good use, that bridge, she organically arrived at writing. Yes, at some point later we are also going to be talking about it, and that also gives me the leverage to introduce to you manifesting victory, a program that I'm just about to talk to you more about. So it's just to give you a glimpse of it. It is a 5 days online program that we have planned, and it is designed to facilitate learning the art and practicing what we call creating a life that you desire. Right? I couldn't have asked for a better start. When sir handed over, he just talked about this, creating powerfully what you need to. And now also Shanti ji, who's just brought us to this juncture where we cracked it somehow, right? That writing makes a whole lot of difference. And now we will be addressing that bit, but I'm also touching upon that. She said something, but I have been writing these for a long time, and then I do not see that getting ticked off my list, right? That's why she's saying she's been writing for over a year and it still stays on the paper, right? So we'll see what is that gap, those missing gaps between knowing what needs to be done and materializing them, realizing, making it into action. Now, when you look at these images, who do you think he is? Any guesses, or anyone who knows? If you do not know him, you could at least voice out what is your opinion. Who do you think he would be?
He's an actor.
Hasina ji thinks he's an actor. Anyone else? Just take a guess. There's no right, wrong answers. We'll just look at it anyways in a minute's time. Who do you think?
Happy, successful person.
Successful, happy person. Okay. And anyone else? And then we'll go into revealing, finding out.
And he is a person who talks about the secret of success.
Okay, you think so? Okay,
The name is Nightingale. I didn't get his name.
okay.
There is a video in that YouTube who talks about that you have to write it, follow it for 30 days together
Okay.
to get that habit, that old habit to become a new habit.
Okay, okay. I'm just about going to tell you. Okay, I wish I could hold the suspense for a little longer. Just for want of time, we are moving on. I can get a little sadistic at times, but then today I will be very, very generous, right? Now, what do you think of who he could be?
Professor.
Professor.
Professor. Okay. What else comes to your mind? What professor do you think you'd be?
Physics professor.
Physics pro. Kasha, you're bang on there, right? Okay. So this person whom we just saw on screen happens to be a physics professor, and not just any other professor, mind you. He's Richard Feynman. He was a Nobel Prize winning US theoretical physicist, and he was famous and continues to be famous for the brilliant mind that he has and a mercurial personality. No wonder you thought that he was a film actor. He looks nothing less than a Hollywood star, isn't he?
Yes.
Dashing. And quite dashing for a professor, right? Physics professor. So his main work was in quantum physics and particle physics, particularly known for Feynman diagrams. And the speciality, why I'm even talking about him today, is he was famous for depicting highly complex particle processing diagrams into diagrams which were easily understandable for the world. Now, he was a prolific writer, thinker who pioneered the idea in quantum computing and nanotechnology. We are not going into the science bits today. However, what we are more interested in is his real superpower, which was his ability to explain complicated subjects to others in very simple, understandable language.
Okay.
And he vociferously put it that jargons, vague words,
Fridge અંદર એક કાલું બોક્સ
abstraction.
ફ્રીજમાં આગળ જ છે ના ના અંદર ફ્રીજમાં છે.
Okay.
Hasina ji, please mute yourself.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
So he realized that using very technical terms to an audience or complicating simple topics can come in the way of clarity, right? And when clarity is affected, outcome is affected. You agree? Just a thumbs up if you agree. Like, it's just the other side of what we discussed earlier, right? When the lack of clarity, that is uncertainty, causes fear, and fear causes inaction, and inaction causes that stay putness, right? You do not achieve what you want. So now, what if you thought this is a key to flip it all over, right? When there is clarity, when things are simple and understandable, there is better clarity. When there is clarity, you know what you have, the resources that you have, the process, what you need to do, and then you will achieve a certain outcome within a certain time span, or you will know you will not be able to achieve within this resources, within this time span, whatever it is. That clarity will help you to stay in control when there is certainty, some amount of certainty. Agree? And when that kind of clarity and certainty is there, fear is mostly eliminated. Of course, whether this fund will be enough, whether this manpower will be enough, whether I have the energy to put through, these are questions. But those are questions that you will deal with, not that will jolt you because of the uncertainty, right? So you will be, like I said earlier, you will be better prepared when you know better. And that eliminates half of the fear, whether I will achieve this. And when fear is removed from this equation, you have action. That inaction reduces and you are able to take actions. And when you have actions in place, most often you survive, or rather you strive through that journey to see the end of it. Success comes to anyone who hangs on, who attempts, puts a system in place, and here he has his results, right? So that is why all of this hero worshipping. And I will tell you why I have brought him into the picture, Richard Fenn. You know why? Something that I learnt about what he had put out, which really opened up a lot of gates for me personally in life. Because of this one thing that he said. He understood the difference between understanding something and knowing the name of something. This happens to many people and even us in certain areas, isn't it? That, like, name a book, name a theory, name a concept, name an ideology for that matter. We have heard about a social movement, we have heard about a scientific phenomenon, and we think and assume that we know all about it. Are you getting this? Can one of you just read that statement, the difference between understand? One of you, feel free to unmute and.
The difference between understanding something and knowing the name of something.
Yeah.
And
What is it saying to you, Kasha, as you're reading it?
see, basically, when we know the name, we think, oh, this, I know it.
Yeah.
But not to the core of it, to the depth of it.
Yeah. And what will happen when you know something to the core?
When you understand in and out of it, you have a complete understanding about it, and where you can explain it to someone in a better way, rather than just when you just know by name and when you understand it deeply. That's the difference.
Absolutely. And as I'm talking to Kasha, others also please engage in this conversation. Have you come across a scenario, Kasha, when you're in a group? It need not be intellectuals and all. It can be any group, okay? Your friends, family, neighborhood, anywhere. And let's say it's a sport. You do not know about the team or the players or about the technicalities of a sport, but you're just participating in a conversation, thinking that you're not lying, you're not faking, but you are thinking that you know it just because you've heard the term. And how do you feel there vis-a-vis when you know about in and out about something, and then you are participating in a conference, conversation, wherever, in a line? What's your experience?
Let's say they're talking about a sport, and if I don't have clarity about it, I would ask what it is, rather than I will clarify. In general, I just clarify with them. Is it so? Is that the sporting code? Does it works like this? So I will ask them.
Good. So seeking clarity makes things easier, isn't it?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank
Then
you.
to assume things.
Yeah. So I'm asking others now to look at other areas, how you feel internally when you do not know about something, but you have just gone into the illusion that you know it. How would you operate in those scenarios? There is some amount of confusion, hesitation. Have you come across any of those?
You don't participate, you just listen, because otherwise you would feel foolish if you put in something.
Totally resonate. I can resonate. I have found myself feeling that, just about foolish. And when you attempt to do something, also it turns out that you've made a fool out of yourself, right? If you just went ahead thinking that you knew war skills, and if you went into the battlefield, just imagine, without adequate practice or training, what would happen? Because it is not so dangerous, maybe it's not fatal in our everyday life, but that's a simulation. Something similar happens. How many people go into their work life, step into their office without having the set of skills that they need for a certain job? It doesn't kill them, so they still go and do it. But how much better life would be if they were to do their job, knowing what needs to be done.
Right.
Similarly, any other task, it can be writing a book, it can be about finding a partner. If you don't know what are the qualities you want to look for in a partner, you might just end up with anyone. And then all you get to do is fret. Acceptance, great, nothing like it. But otherwise, sulk, fret, fume, right? But if you knew, how would your life be if you knew what you wanted in a partner, and then you set in those intentions, you lived in that frequency, and you invited just that kind. Yesterday we had a beautiful session by Sukdeepak sir, where he said you always get what you want and you choose what you have, and life is altogether a different one in that space. Now coming back here, so he says he was never satisfied with just knowing the name of things, not superficial. So he didn't want to be shallow in anything that he did. So he went down to the core. And I'm just reading this out. Hasina ji, especially for you, this one, when you said this, not when I'm saying for you, because you were bang on getting this. He said the first principle is that you must not fool yourself. And you are the easiest person to fool. You picked it up beautifully. And I think I also agree. Right?
I didn't get that.
One doesn't...
Could you try again?
One doesn't get away with not knowing, right? It shows somewhere. And it so happens, ironically, that we are the easiest ones to fool ourselves, but the world knows it. And why we are talking about it is, when I'm saying the world, the universe also comes to know of it. When you are clear, you send out signals, intentions with such clarity that you get to manifest them like this. Shantiji, your answer is coming somewhere, right? So along with what you do, when you have that intentionality in place, and then you back it up with your discipline, consistency, perseverance, resilience, and all the other skills and qualities, you make it happen like that. Now most of us here, I'm talking about this is a very august audience, right? Very evolved. So many ways in which you are learning, seeking. I'm sure you're here 500 odd days, you're here every single day only because you want to get better at what you are doing, who you are. So this is clearly an evolved audience that I'm talking to, I understand. Right? So for most of us here, we are very content with understanding things at a deeper level, right? Like Kasha was just saying, if I don't know something, he's not from that other realm where he would just pass off as an imposter, pretending to know what he doesn't know. He says, I will find out. Right? So here, our friends want to understand things. So that box is ticked. So now, what happens? In spite of knowing a lot of things, and understanding them, then what is this slip between the cup and the lip? When you understand, when you have clarity, and there is still that hitch, getting what you want.
Is it no confidence?
When you know things, you will develop, no?
Okay. Okay.
Right?
Oh.
Just for saving time. I'm just moving forward. So you have an understanding, and then yet you are not getting the results that you want. What could it mean? And personally to me, that is the key to unlock success. What would it be? Okay, I would just love to hear each and every one of your responses. Save it and feel free to share in the group or with me also anytime late. In my understanding right now, how I have taken this forward is that translation between this understanding, knowing what to do, and actually manifesting the results is taking the action, being in action, doing it, right? Most of us here know, right? Walking a certain number of kilometers or working out is good for your health. Making these healthy choices, this is what it does to your life. You write a certain number of pages, you do this research, you get certain discussions going, you work, you organize your material, and then your book is going to be done halfway through at least. And of course, the publishing bit remains. But I'm saying about writing. Similarly, any other area of your life. You want to achieve success in a certain project, you know what are the elements that go into it, depending on the finance, the people, the resources, the system, technology, and what yet comes in the way of you making the results show, taking a certain set of actions. And now I'm, the first slide, I said I will introduce you a little later to what we are going to talk. That's about manifesting victory, right? So once again, thanks to Sukdeepak sir for being very gracious to offer this time and space. So very quickly, I'll tell you about what we are about to do in the next 5 days, right? So manifesting victory, I've called it intentionally a program because it's not about teaching, training. So we do a lot of that. Even sir said in the beginning, there's a lot of that information happening, right? So this is about that key, what we just spoke about, is doing and being. We know there is a lot of knowing. There's so much of knowing. That domain is ticked. What causes the gap in achieving the results is the doing and the being. Who do you need to be and what do you need to do to manifest a certain result, right? Shantiji, I see your hand up. Please wait. Some of it might get answered. If it doesn't, I'll take the question a little later, right? Hope that is okay. So manifesting victory is all about translating that knowledge into understanding. We spoke about that. And what's that next mileage? Propulsion. That is converting the understanding into doing. So if you're resonating with what I'm saying, just give a thumbs up or a shout out so I'll know, right? In the chat box or in the hand raise button. So we are going to be doing things consistently on a daily basis, and we are getting started on it on 5 days, and then you choose to design your path the way you would like it. So what the idea is to fuse the conscious and the unconscious process, the conscious mind with the unconscious, the power of the subconscious mind. So we know, we know, no, the soul knows what it needs, that there is a whole lot of wisdom inside, what needs to be done. You need to wake up at that 5 a.m. You need to go this extra mile jogging. You know how to, get work done from your subordinates or trainees, all of that. But what translates into work, consciously the processes, the actions that you're taking, if that is a miss, then how do we match the subconscious and the conscious? And that's going to give us that extra mileage. That's unlocking what we are going to do. And there is no secret here. There is no fancy claims. You all know. That's why I said you're a very evolved and aware audience. So the key here is just to be able to do what we already know, right? And now that's what is taking us to Feynman's technique. Because we know certain things, we already know a whole lot of techniques. Most of us have read about so much about self-help, about helping others. We think we are doing it. We know about visualization. We think we are doing it. And then we claim results are not showing up. Similarly, any other topic, we know how to manifest things. We know how to, emotional intelligence, how to up the quotient. And because we know the term, we know about that subject, we trick ourselves to believe that we are doing and practicing that. And that causes complacence. We think we are doing a whole lot of things and yet not getting the results. We think we are in charge of our emotions. We think we are in control of so many other things, because we are learning about it, we are hearing about it, we are researching about it, and maybe we are even practicing. But if you record 2 days out of 30 days and we think we have done all 30 days conveniently, that is what we are about to change here, right? So this is the missing page. Shantiji, I'm also touching about what you mentioned earlier, right? You're writing, right? You're writing about it and still things sit on the list. So there could be many of our other friends, including me, in some areas I have manifested. There are some areas where still it is remaining in the to-do list, or it is still remaining in the goal for this year, right? Then what is that missing chunk here? Before I go on to tell you what I am about to share. It's my take. You look around in your life, what is that missing bit for you personally? Right? Look in different walks of your life. See, what is it that is coming in between? What is staying in between? Or rather, what is not there in between as a bridge? Think of a broken bridge. You know where you are, you know where you need to get, and you also know the path, but halfway there you don't find a completion to walk over. That's what happens, right? We just get started on euphorically into so many projects, so many goals, and then we know also what needs to be done, but we do not cross over because something is missing. So today there could be many things. Today I'm choosing to talk about this one area which I thought can solve a lot of issues for many of us. When I just took the LCD, common denominator, many of us would be dealing with this. Going on that basis, I have chosen to put out this. Okay. Let's look at what it is. Again, no suspense here. We know what we want. We know how to do it. The missing link is how we feel, attaching the emotional quotient intelligence to what we need to get done. Just look at this area where you are not getting something done. What are your feelings there? Anger. For some people it could be anger. For some people it could be frustration. For some people it could be sadness. For some people it can be irritation. For some people it can be fear. Okay, I need to get this done. I haven't. For some people it can be rage. How can I not have this? How can my team not get this? For some people it can be grief. So long and I have not been able to manifest this, not able to get my children married, not able to create this financial reality. It can be anything, right? Now, in any of that scenario, it is not helping one move forward, right? When not knowing how to deal with those emotions. And similarly, the flip side of it, when you know what to do and you are not fueling it with the right kind of emotions, feelings, even then there is a lag. That is the missing bridge between where you are and where you need to get. If you're not feeling excited about your project, if you're not feeling thrilled in getting to a place where you want to holiday, it's not happening. Just by writing, I want to be in Mauritius, Bangkok, it doesn't happen. If you are not backing it up with that kind of zest for actually landing there and doing the things what you need to do there. Simply writing 260 days, I want to write my book, doesn't happen because I do not have my purpose in place. I want to impact these people. This is the community I want to, if I want to write about the environment, if that is my cause, nature is my cause. If I'm not connecting to the people who I can get a shout out from, who will join this cause, whom it will inspire, my book is not making it to the shelves because it is not fueling that kind of energy and passion in me and good enough for me to get it done. It can be anything, building a school, building a house. If I'm not visualizing who are the people who will be there in it when I build it, what is the life I will have when I'm in it, when it's made, if I'm not seeing that joy, then it's not getting made. At brick and mortar, anyone can make it happen. But that's why you might wonder, I have the money, I have the time, and why is it still not happening? Maybe the feeling, right? So there could be other things also, like there could be some aging parent who's worried about emptiness syndrome. What if my children leave to another country after they are married and settle? What will happen to me, or what will happen? Our family will not be the same anymore. And if that's the energy they're putting into it, conscious mind is thinking, I want to get a nice suitor for my daughter or a nice bride for my son. Their conscious mind is having that as a goal, right? I want to manifest this good marriage for my child. That's there. But if the feeling is, what will I do when the child is gone? If that's the feeling, energy that you're putting, then this doesn't happen even if you're writing. Do you see that how it operates? Similarly, any other, just for want of time, I'm not giving too many examples. Look at your areas of life. If something is not happening, then ask yourself this question right now and today. And from now on, be in that inquiry. What is the feeling around this? Why is it not happening? So now that brings us to connecting these dots. This program that I've designed will focus on these areas, because most of us know here what needs to be done. So no one needs to tell you, right? And you will get it done. But it's about how we feel and a certain tweaks here, certain changes there. And that I'm, borrowing from different fields of, how you word it, how you send out those information to the universe. Let's say from law of attraction, how you, take charge of your emotional quotient from positive psychology, or some tools and techniques from NLP, from hypnotherapy, and other modes of healing to give that extra push for a smooth completion. Some energy work that we'll be looking at. So all of this will come through in these 5 days, right? So the most successful people in the world can make take any subject and make it simple. That is the crux. Think Wordsworth, for that matter. He just beautifully explains simple things beautifully, right? And then that touches our hearts when it's simple and easy to touch. Similarly, understanding a technique, this technique can help you avoid getting fooled. That when you know that this is heavy duty work, then you stop, you take one step back, you backtrack, right? So the idea is to make things simple. There is no fanciness about this program. Already what you're just doing it a couple of times, putting it down drilling it down your system and seeing what happens. So there is no hierarchy, there is no teaching, training that will happen. This is going to be a co-creating space, right? So if you can explain what you want, your goal, your purpose in life, half the thing is done. And then all you have to do is back it up with the right kind of emotions and remaining in consistent pursuit of that. Whatever actions that needs to be taken to make these things happen. And then the rest will just flow. So the idea is to lay out a simple formula, right? And I will explain quickly about it, right? Anyone can make a subject complicated, but the idea, the key, in my opinion, is to make it simple, right? Simple is beautiful. So let's celebrate. Yes. So Deepak sir, you wanted to share?
Yeah. I just wanted to point out that we have another 4 minutes to close the session.
Yes.
Yeah?
This is just about the wrap-up stage anyways. Thank you for letting me know. So why so much about Feynman technique is the best way to learn anything, he says, is a 4-step pattern that he has given. So I'm taking that, and based on that, inspired by that work, we will go through the program, right? So I'm just mentioning the crux of his work. So he says it is a method of learning that unleashes your potential and forces you to develop a deep understanding. And what he has given as key steps is choose a concept you want to learn about. This is about learning, okay? Do not get it confused. He's given it for learning. We are inspired and taking and applying this for manifesting our goals. So he's saying choose a concept you want to learn. Explain it to yourself or to the world like you would talk to a 12-year-old in simple, understandable, relatable terms. And then constantly reflect, refine it, improvise it, and simplify it further and further, right? And you organize and keep reviewing it, feedback and action, right? So just by going by that, this program about manifesting, okay, goal manifesting, I am sharing all of this right now itself for different reasons. If some of you can join, it'll be great. But if you cannot join, you still know what to do. So you don't have to be there those 5 days. You're most welcome. It will be wonderful if you can join us to do it. But my idea is to give it in this session so you will know. So how do you use it? Choose an area. It can be your health, relationship, career, finance, any of those. Have clarity in which area you want to work through and state it clearly to the universe. Like we spoke about, writing is the key. So without any loopholes, without any abstract ideas, nothing hanging loose, you write it in, and then you keep reflecting. What do? You resonate, right, with the core, connect it with the core of your purpose, and then keep refining it, making it powerful by a certain set of techniques which we will be learning, and then exhibiting compassion. So it's not about you and you alone, right? So only when there is giving and giving out generously, you actually get whatever you want. So compassion is the key. And we will be writing everything 55 times, our affirmation, and I will explain a certain set of ways in which you formulate your affirmation. And then we will follow up the session with meditations to strengthen, to give it that extra propulsion. So this is what we will be doing. So we've come to the end of it. So I'm just giving you the logistic details, how we will be touching upon the thinking, which we know, but the focus will be on the being and the doing bit. So you will get a lot of awareness, insights, then constantly practice what we already know, and then keep repeating it, right? So that brings me to just explaining 3 parts of the program. So this is a 55-minute program, and first 10 minutes, 5 minutes to call the meeting to order, and 5 minutes to say goodbye, 15 minutes to learn a manifestation technique, and then 15 minutes to write down. The key is simplicity, but write every day to ingrain it into your system, and then follow it up by a meditation session. So this is how the program will be. So once again, thank you all for the patient listening, and looking forward to meeting all of you. So I will share the link later. Sir has been kind enough to share it in the group already. So starting from this evening, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th of October, every day we'll be meeting at 5:55 p.m. to 6:50, 55 minutes duration, and via Zoom. I will share the link in the group. So once again, with folded hands, thanks to Sir in particular, and gently to all of you wonderful people for the fantastic listening.
All right. Thank you, Indu, for introducing this program. I think it's a great service that you're offering.
My pleasure.
And I urge everyone to be on that program because it resonates with our purpose. So you might as well do it. In fact, when I was talking to you, I was thinking, why don't you offer it for 5 days on the EMC only?
Of course, sir, we'll follow it up definitely. I would just love
I mean, the same program you could do, but then let them attend it today. Let's see how many of them come.
Sure.
And if necessary, you do it in the morning.
Definitely.
I'll give you 5 consecutive mornings to do it. Sounds interesting program.
Thank you, sir.
But it's one continuous program of 5 days, right?
Yes, because that's also another practice of 5/55. That I have woven it into in the power of 5 days, and writing it 55 times as a system and to initiate a certain routine. So that is why it can be even 3.
No, just checking. I mean, it's not that it's a standalone program for 1 day and another standalone for 1 day. It's a continuous 5-day program.
5 days, because it is shown to see some results. Myself, I have manifested it personally, and some of my friends and clients. So I thought there's something that's working. Why not?
Good. It will be a nice thing for all of us here. All right. So hope all of you meet her today evening. Unfortunately, I cannot be there but I'll talk to you about that, Indu. Maybe you can give me a recording or something.
I'll do that.
I'd love to see it.
Happy to do that. Yes.
All right. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. And let's meet tomorrow morning for another episode of Empowering Morning Conversations. And Vetri, can you just stay on the call? I need to speak with you. The rest of you, bye-bye. See you tomorrow morning.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Indu.
Yeah, Rama, you can also
Thank
stay.
you,
Rama and Shakti.
Sure, sir.
Yeah, the core team, please remain. Bye, Indu.
Thank you, Indu.
Very good session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. It's a very good session. Thank you, sir. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, Hasina.
Bye,
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Just
everybody.
bye, Ashokji. Shakti, you remain. Vetri, Rama.
Sir, you can stop recording also.
I can stop, but I don't know if I want to.